away your day. And I know nothing's sacred anymore in your so-called heroes, only in it for dough. Out of hope, what'll get sold, don't let go. Let's get high and watch the world pass by. I got more than one shoulder if you wanna cry. There's still time to make it all okay, but you know we're not around forever. And I know nothing's sacred anymore in your so-called heroes, only in it for dough. Out of hope, what'll get sold, don't let go. It's a choice, get better or better. How come the best things for you always the hardest to do? Two words with four letters, love and hate is a coin, it's just a side that we choose. But either one leaves a bruise. Nothing's sacred anymore in your so-called heroes, only in it for dough. Out of home, what'll get sold, don't let go. Cheers, man, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope we are well. Thank you so much for saying hello inside the chat box. And quite interestingly, on that little bit of a theme tune that we all now love and we know what's coming next, there's a lyric in there that says, sometimes the best thing for you always seems the hardest to do, or something to that theme. So my question to every single person here and to everybody catching us on the replay is, did you do your homework from 2 weeks ago? Right now, we gave the homework out 2 weeks ago, and Noel then jumped in and reiterated that. So let me know, yes or no. And let's be honest, right? Let's take responsibility, right? And a big question that we're going to be asking is, what are you prepared to do for your business, right? Ask not what your business can do for you, but what you can do for your business, right? Thank you very much, Sue. You have been honest. You said no, okay? Mike's horse ate his homework. All right. I think we've all heard that excuse before. I'm going to put Mike down as a no. Patricia says yes. Fantastic. Right. Now, I know some people will have done the homework and maybe they didn't share it with us. Right. So you got to the template, you downloaded it, or you made a copy of it. You filled all the different things in, and then you maybe didn't share it. Right. It was like the last bastion to get full marks. Maybe it wasn't shared. Okay, so I'm going to re-ask this one last time. Okay, one last time. Let's get back to the previous stream. Let's look in, get the homework, get the link, right, and then get the homework done. Okay, it is so important, okay? And I'm going to tell you a really good reason why. But before I do that, I also want to give a big shout out to the community here at large, right? This group at large, because on the last stream, I was on the last stream of this particular topic, the profit and loss. I was using our new Lynx whiteboard, which I got carried away with. It was fantastic. Very, very similar to the Jamboard, as I was talking about. Even had a fancy QR code to download it. But Jamboard auto saves. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it, right? Jamboard auto saves. Lynx, I have to click save. All right. And I didn't click save, which meant that the slides were kind of gone, or the whiteboard was kind of gone. So I was going to have to redraw everything out. But one of your fellow members, who is Lucia Lebont, came in to save my bacon, right? She had gone in while we were actually on the stream, or just shortly after. The whiteboard was still up there, and she downloaded it, right, which was absolutely fantastic. And then I believe it was Gatry was asking about it. I'd noticed my error, the error of my ways, and Lucia then posted in the files that she had downloaded. So I want to take a minute to say thank you so much to Lucia in particular, but also just that sort of camaraderie, that teamwork together, and being able to be there for each other, whether it's answering a question, whether it's directing somebody to the right page, or whether it's making up for mistakes that some idiot, this one right here, has made by not saving a whiteboard. So absolutely brilliant. Now, coming back again to the homework, right? And somebody who did do absolutely everything. They downloaded or made a copy of the template. They went in, they filled out the template that we're asking the questions on very thoroughly as well, and then shared the document with us. We were able to review those. And there was an error, right? There was an error inside one part that was making up the report. Now, we only knew about that because that person had responded back and done that one thing, which we were then able to go and fix. Boom, right? Now, we would not have been able to find that needle in a haystack without that person actually reporting back on what we were asking. So, number one, we've found an error in their report, right? They were able to find something, notice what we're talking about in terms of profit and loss, and now they've got more accurate data, right? They're able to take that on forward with, right? So that's the part. It's like we're going to continually do more and more and more for the people that engage and kind of do what we're asking, okay? It's not like a dictatorial sort of set, but it's like if you're going to go and do more each and every time, you're going to do the homework, you're going to go and visit the reports that we're building, we're going to do even more work on your behalf, right? That's not to say that if you don't do anything that we're not going to do anything, but what I am saying is that people like yourself who are watching this stream live, or people who are catching up on the replay, because maybe they're at work, and you're interacting, you're engaging, we are going to do more, okay? We're going to do more. And in relation to reporting, and in relation to especially the likes of P&L, which we're going to be talking about today, we are going to be making some adjustments for you, all right? And these are really good adjustments going forward. So by the end of Q3, right, so coming into Q4, which will be the end of September, start of October, right, we're going to see a real revamp in terms of how all reporting is structured. And it's going to make it even easier, even simpler for every single person who's engaging, right? Because we're going to be building those ones first, Okay, that makes sense. People who are connecting with their reports, they're looking at their reports, they're providing the data, they're engaging with us about their reports. Those are the people that we're going to do it first for. Okay, and that's you guys. I'm speaking to. All right, and really, this whole thing is this: we talk religiously, I would say, right, about the 12-week year. Okay, the 12-week year, 12-week year, 12-week year. One of the things that we noticed is that all reporting doesn't marry to 12-week year as well as it could. Right, that's going to be the big, big change. Right, less overwhelming data, more current, with a view to how is things improving, incremental growth, right? So what we're going to do is align all reporting and how it presents itself, how it manifests itself with what we're talking about and the way that we're talking, right? So it's aligned, okay? Everything's aligned because we've been seeing this more and more. And with the likes of that little shift that we made and everybody viewed the video last time about communicating about a product inside of Monday, that has been working fantastically. Right, you guys are now starting to communicate on a Monday board with about a product or a specific product and a specific query around that product. Right, we can take this on. Right, we can take this on further and further and further. Okay, because it's not just about product. It could be then if we take it and we look at it as a business, and this is really a great segue into today's topic of profit and loss and making this kind of like part 2. 2 weeks ago, we covered that A, B, C, right? With B being understanding and C being action. That's where we find ourselves now. So in the previous part 1, we were really in the A to B categories, like, you know, putting it on the calendar, when things get done, what are they, right? Then it's like the B of that understanding, which you're still in. We need to keep you inside there until you understand it fully, but also having that idea of action. So B and C. All right. So let me just switch my screen over so that I can bring up a bit of a whiteboard and we will get rocking and rolling with what we want to talk about today. So let me just bring that whiteboard up and let me share my screen. It should be that one. Let's go for a window instead. And remember, I'll try and remember, but you remind me that whenever I put up the QR code, remind me to share my, save today's work, guys. So let me just make sure that my tablet is working. Let's see, looks good. Okay, I'm a little bit dark on that side, but can you just let me know inside chat box, guys? So we are going to be engaging today as well. You can see my screen, my whiteboard, and it does look kind of bright and white. I know that whenever I'm looking at it, mine kind of dulls out a little bit on the share screen, but you should be able to see that, and let me know if that is accurate. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so whenever we're talking, right, and I was looking at this as a bit of an example, right? So we were as P&L, right? And I really do need to turn down the sensitivity on this because it's pretty sensitive. Here on Monday and about, you know, having an area of specific products that you might have. So you've got like product 1, product 2, and product 3. And previously or before, it was kind of like a blancmange or one big pie of where those conversations were happening. But now we have it well first off, so that any discussion or question about product number one is happening inside that board. And profit and loss, right? Profit and loss has actually been more of a macro view, right? So we have kind of like every single thing inside of profit and loss, and it's a bigger view. And what we really want to kind of be looking at as we're moving forward is that inside profit and loss, that what you have is every single product itself has a level of profit and loss, right? Okay. And inside of Monday, we then start to look at more, so not just products, but communicating around your business. Okay. So having certain things like all reporting or reporting back, I don't understand what this is. I don't know what that means. What can I do? So having an area inside of Monday, which is specific, right? So it's not generic, okay? It's specific to you, and it's specific to a certain thing. And then keep our general, right? So we got specific business, because inside here, these are specific. So if we're thinking Monday, we are thinking specific queries and questions around a specific thing. Whereas inside circle, right? If we have the circle down in here, this is very much general. All right. So if we've got a general question, right, around a general topic, that would be done inside of circle. So if you're talking about, I can't get my bank account connected, right? That's not specific to your business. It's not specific to a product. It's more general, more generic. So we can keep that inside of circle. And then Monday, we're going to be able to continually make improvements. So we've already started making improvements, and we're going to continue to make more improvements. The same kind of goes for P&L. All right. Look at a P&L and saying, yes, we do have an overview, but then we've got to start moving towards more of a product scenario. Okay. So with that in mind, let's get started. Let's move into, let me add a page in here. We have page number 2. Cool. So if you can remember last time, and I am just going to go and see if I can change the sensitivity here on this, because it is super sensitive. Let's see how that looks now. Well, that seems to be it's a little bit better. It'll have to. I'll have to just get over the sensitivity today. But if we look at P&L, right, and moving on from last week and looking at those different bits, right, we talked about the 5 lines of a P&L, right? We have revenue, we have COGS, okay, and we have GP, and we have expenses. Oops. We have expenses, and then we have NP, okay? And we talked about the whole idea of the real area that we want everything to go to is obviously to NP, all right? Now, revenue, right? If revenue is 100%, okay, so 100% is revenue. What did we say that COGS were, right? Give me the figure that COGS were in relation to revenue, right? What is it that we're looking to see, right? What is it that we're looking to see COGS be inside this P&L? Let me know inside the chat box. And as you're doing that, it's obviously a direct relationship, okay? Because as your revenue moves up, your COGS are going to move up in value, but the percentages should stay the same. All right, the percentages should stay the same. And this is moving from understanding to action, right? Because if something doesn't line up, then we can have action, right? And yes, absolutely, Mr. Murray, I'm embracing my sensitive side. And we've got some people inside the chat box have got it correct. It is indeed 70%. Okay, 70%. Now, there's an element, two elements that make this COGS up, right? Number one, what are they and what percentage would they look like, right? So there's two main elements that make up COGS. What are they and what percentage are they? Right. Let me know inside the chat box. And yes, so you were close. If you just went the other way, it's like saying, what way should I go? I'll go right. It was left. So you were close, right? Denise says Amazon fees in total 40%. Okay, so Amazon fees, and by Amazon fees we are referring to FBA and commission, right, or referral. Okay, so the total Amazon fees, excluding anything like storage, PPC, accounts, all that sort of stuff. And then we have a few other people saying landed cost, 30%. Okay, 30%. Now, the first question, right? The first question is, what if your COGS are considerably lower than 70%? Right, so you went and you did your homework, and you could see that the COGS were considerably lower than 70%. So considerably lower. I'm talking about not 40%, or sorry, not 70%, but 40%, 45, 55, 50, 55. Right, that's what I mean by considerably lower. What would be your action? Right, what would be your action if the COGS were considerably lower, right? So we got actions. Remember, we're talking about understanding, but I know you guys like actions, all right? If it was considerably lower, what would you do, right? Denise says, terrific, right? So she'd celebrate, right? I wouldn't do that, right? I wouldn't do that. What do you think we should do? Right? Teresa says, smile. Gitby says, sell more. Right? No. That's, you're off on the way. Right? Mike's getting there. Check my maths. Yeah, definitely check it. Right? But let's say your mathematics are correct. You've got revenue of 10 grand, COGS of 4,500. Right? So inside your P&L template, you've got revenue of 10,000, you've got COGS of 4,500, right? Don't go to the Gucci shop, that's for sure, right? The first thing that I would want you to do there is report that to us. Report that. It sounds like there's something wrong. Okay? Report it. It is nigh on impossible, if it's accurate, for you to have 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 COGS. Okay? So we wanted to report it. Okay? Now, number two, what if it's higher? Okay? Now, what I want to do is I want to ask you a question. Okay? It's higher. Right? Now, I don't mean it's 71, 72, even 75, okay? But what if it's like 80 and above, right? What could be the issue, right? So it's the understanding of like, what could be the issue if you've got COGS that are 80% and above, or around 80% and above that of revenue, right? What could that be? Right? What could that be? Let me know inside the chat box, guys. I will have a little bit of a hydration station while you are typing in, and I'm waiting on the lag of the chat box. I'm getting you thinking today, you see. Everybody's gone very quiet. Everybody's gone very quiet. Maybe it's just the lag. Okay. So, CO, you mean it has changed to that higher? Could it be that it's changed, or it could be it's always been that way? If it's changed, then at least you can pinpoint a certain time. But what could be the reasons? Looks like we're on sales price of product not appropriate. Right? Okay, so that is good, right? Sales price, I'm going to just put it SRP, okay? Sales price too low, basically, right? You are selling something way below what you should be, right? Or on average, right? It's too low, right? Cost of shipping, okay, so if it's changed, your LC, right? Your landed cost might have increased. Yes. Now, it's unlikely that the Amazon fee would have increased to, it does increase, but it's marginal and it's not overly common, right? So it's not exactly regular, but the Amazon fee could have increased. These two things you can check very quickly, right? That is pretty quick. That is a pretty quick check to see if that is the case or not. Okay. So definitely true. Okay. But this one, right, and I'm going to get out my red, this is the one here. All right. I actually selected the red. There we go. This one here is what I see time and time again, right? We have just moved something down for whatever reason, and we haven't really looked at the reasons why we did that, right? Or we certainly are not reviewing, okay? So this is the biggest one, right? This is the biggest one. And I'm going to come back to this because I know people will then turn around and say, yeah, but it wasn't selling, so I just reduced the price, right? You might have been better off not making the sales, okay? So there is definitely this scenario here, okay? Now, there could be reasons, right? There could be reasons. You could be selling off, all right? You might have an item, it's like critical inventory in there, and you're just getting rid of it. That's okay, right? I understand why you might be selling something off. You're getting rid of it. You're not going to repeat that mistake, all right? That could change our COGS around here, all right? But this is what we want to start doing, right? When we start to see this, we need to start going down and asking ourselves why, right? Why is my COGS 83%? Right? And go and see if you can find out why and then report, right? We're working together, okay? We are working together on this, right? Now, what happens to gross profit if the COG is too high, right? So what happens to gross profits if the COGS are too high? Let me know. That would be on each product, yes. So it's like, if your COGS are too high, go and find out why. Right? That rhymes, which means it's great. Right? And as Denise says, yes, absolutely. It will reduce, right? because gross profit should be 30% or as close as we can make it to that, right? So if your gross profit is 20% or below, there's something that we need to explain, right? We've got to work out what is wrong, right? Is this a short-term thing? Is this going to be slightly longer? What is the reason, right? And sometimes there's a good reason, right? I've got an item in here that I just need to get rid of, so therefore my COGS at the minute are slightly higher because I'm selling it off at a lesser price than what I wanted for it, so I'm not making the gross profit. Okay, right? That is an explanation. But what I don't think we're doing at the minute is I don't think we're analyzing this, and I don't think we are creating the reasons why. Okay? Is that a fair enough assessment, guys? Right? Number one, I don't think we're looking at this. Number two, I don't think we're calculating it. And number three, I don't think we are creating the reasons why. Right? We're kind of just maybe looking, stopping, and going, I'm not making any money. Full stop. And then going, why am I not making it? You're questioning something else. So you're questioning the whole business. Instead of questioning the line, right? Is that fair? Let me know by saying yes inside the comments, right? We got to get our profit and loss. Then we got to look. Then we got to get our figures. And then we've got to question why. That's the change. Right? Let me know. Is that a fair assessment of what we're looking at the minute? Or have you been doing this all along? And I'm talking to the converted, right? Now, so if we have this incorrect, we're going to get a reduction in gross profit, all right? Now, expenses, right? Expenses. What should expenses be? Right? Should they be a percentage of your revenue? Should they be a percentage of your gross profit? Or what should they be? Right? What should expenses be? Right? Let me know. What should expenses be? I'll get another. So Denise says as little as possible. That is true. We're always looking to see if we can drive them down. That's not the answer I was kind of looking for. So Gadry says they should be a percentage of revenue. Okay, percentage of revenue. What does everybody else think? Should they be a percentage of revenue, a percentage of COGS, a percentage of GP? What should they be? That's not the only answer. Maybe you've got another answer. Mike says like an overhead, not always linked directly to the product. Okay, so true, but we are kind of looking here in P&L in terms of a business. Okay, Patricia says a percentage of revenue. Okay, so this seems like a little bit of an understanding question. Okay. Everybody's kind of wrong here, okay? The closest one is kind of Mike in terms of a overhead. This should be fixed, right? Fixed. Does your accounting software change if your revenue is $5,000 or £100? No. Does your mobile phone bill change if you suddenly went from $5,000 to $50,000 in revenue? No. Does your Adobe subscription change? No, right? And what I'm talking about here, of course, is external expenses. That could have been a question. What expenses are you referring to, Robert? Right? This should be fixed. Okay? This should be fixed. A fixed figure, not a percentage. Absolutely. Right? Because as revenue goes up, COGS should stay the same as a percentage. GP should stay the same as a percentage. Expenses are then fixed to a value, which then allows net profit, right, to be gained. All right. So when revenue goes up, in this case, So does net profit, right, as a value. Right? Now, what happens when our COGS are too high, which results in a lower GP, and then our expenses are fixed? What happens to net profit? Right? So our revenue is there, our COGS are too high, right? Which results in a lower gross profit. Then we apply our expenses. What happens to net profit? Let me know. Denise says it sucks. You're goddamn right it does, right? At the end of the day, it will go to zero, okay? It could even go to a minus, right? It will trend to zero. It goes down, as Lucia says. Diana says it reduces. Absolutely. Because this is fixed, right? And the bottom of this, right? The bottom of this needs the above. The bottom of it needs the top, right? Let me put this in here, all right? Let me get some sort of yellow, right? The bottom of this area needs the top to exist, right? It relies on it. If you have nothing coming down to coming into the bottom half of a profit and loss report, the end result is not going to be good. Okay, it's not going to be good. Because while we're trying to lower our expenses, right, that is obvious, we cannot cut our ways to wealth. We have to add it, right? We have to add it. And when we start to see this, the game completely changes, right? The game completely changes. Right? And we got to start analyzing. We got to start working out where the problem is, right? It's a bit like what I said last night, right? Whenever people say, my product's not selling, I don't know what that means, right? I now have no response to that question, right? Because the question is weak. The phrase is weak, and it shows a disrespect to your business, right? That's the way I'm treating it now, right? That may sound harsh, right? And at the minute, it's like I don't care that it sounds harsh, right? Because the question in itself is bogus, right? The question in itself is completely bogus. And the same thing goes here, right? If you're saying, I'm not making any money, it's exactly the same question, right? That just says to me, I'm not looking at anything. I don't respect the report. I don't respect the business. And I'm just looking for a magic bullet. That's what it says to me, okay? Now, if somebody comes to me and says, my COGS are 85%, right? Now, that's something tangible, right? Because now we can work on this. And maybe they say, I don't know why my COGS are 85%. Right? That's something we can work with. Or they might say, and there's no problem expressing expenses as a percentage, my expenses are 50% of my revenue. Okay? Why? I don't understand, right? I need help with this. Can you understand the difference? Just let me know. Do you understand the difference between saying something like, I'm not making any money versus my COGS are too high inside my profit and loss report because they're 85%? Let me know. Let me know. Can you see the logic between the two different answers or the two different questions or the two different comments, right? And here's the thing, right? Because one is, it's a throwaway question, right? The other is very targeted. And the other tells me that they've looked, right? The other tells me that they've gone in, they've put the data in, their profit and loss report has been completed for them. They've looked at it, they've analyzed it, they've done some mathematics on it, and they've highlighted the area inside their business, albeit macro, where there is a problem. Okay? Brilliant. I'm getting a lot of yeses in there. And Denise says, if your expenses are expected or fixed, there will always be unexpected. Are the unexpected something that you budget for? Well, let me know. What are the unexpected expenses inside a business, right? Because they could be just costs of doing business. And it's very difficult, right? It's like, if you look at that query, it's like, do I budget for something that is unexpected? How could I do that? That's a bit like saying, I will make a plan for something that's unexpected and I don't know will happen. Okay? That's also like saying, I want to talk about Bridge 47, even though I don't know if it exists or if it will ever exist, but I need to know what it is when. All right? So there's an element. I wouldn't, right? Let the chips fall where they may. Stick to the core, right? Or else you'll send yourself crazy, right? So what we've got to do, guys, is we've got to analyze this. Because then here's what we can do. Excuse me. Now, what I want to take is I want to take all of this. I'm going to move. Sorry, I'm choking here. Let me add a page in. Right. Now, change this back over to the darker color. Perfect. Now, what if, whenever we see certain things, that we want to go from the macro, all right, from the macro to the micro, all right? We want to go from macro to micro. And really what we're doing here is we're going from 30,000 foot view to macro to micro. Now, the 30,000 foot view, right? Advertising can be planned and should be planned, should be part of the expenses, should not be unexpected. 30,000 foot view is liquidity, okay? Who here has done a liquidity report, right? Who here has done a liquidity report and got a line in the sand for their liquidity, right, that we talked about previously? Let me know with an L inside the chat box if you have done a liquidity report in the past, all right? Now, macro, we are looking at P and L, right, of the business, okay? Profit and loss of the business. And that is where we've been focusing on, okay? So whenever we get to liquidity, we get to see, how am I doing from a 30,000 foot view, okay? Have I gone up or down? Right? So it's very high level, right? Regardless of whether you're going up or down, you would then look at the profit and loss, right? But if you're going down, you're going to have more of a hawk eye on why am I going down. Also, if I'm going up, why am I going up? And there still could be things in there that are sending me down. Profit and loss in the business. Then we can go to a micro level, right? You've identified something. You've seen that you've got COGS of 85% and you cannot explain it, right? Then what we can go to is a profit and loss of a product. Make sense? Let me know, right? Now, you know the 5 lines of a product, okay? Sorry, of a business. So, what are the 5 lines of a profit and loss for a product, okay? What is line number 1 for the profit and loss of a product? Let me know. You know those 5 lines for P&L inside the business so well now We want to move on to a profit and loss inside the product. What do you think line number 1 might be? Profit and loss of a product. Denise says revenue. Anybody else want to have a hazard an opinion or a guess or anything like that? Mike says revenue. Don't know whether we're all getting this or whether we're following the leader. Who knows? But yes, guys, you are right. Indeed, the profit and loss of a product would indeed be revenue. Okay. Now, what would line number 2 be inside the profit and loss of a product? Okay. What would the line number 2 be? Profit and loss of a product. While you're guessing that or giving me your opinion, stating a fact, whatever, I'm going to have some more hydration. Denise says COGS. Denise says COGS. Might have a bit of a lag here, but Tricia says COGS. Mike says COGS. Gately says COGS. Yeah, COGS. Okay. Following a similar pattern here. What about number 3? What would line number 3 be? Yes, we guessed it. It would be gross profit. Okay. What about line number 4 and line number 5? What do you think they would be? Yes, you guessed it, guys. Expenses. Internal, external. That's an I, by the way. Oops. And NP. Right. Look familiar? That's because it is. Right? That's because it is. Now, the revenue of the product inside the time period, everybody happy as to where we can get that information from, right? So we're looking at a product, an actual product, what the revenue was of that product. Right? Everybody know where they can find this, right? Just let me know, yes, this one is dead easy. I can definitely get the revenue of a particular product inside a time period, right? COGS are going to be exactly the same, guys, right? As in, we're talking here about Amazon, right? And we're talking about landed cost. If you have these done inside your PCS, you're going to be able to find them, right? And then you can go and check them, right? You can go and check that the landed cost is correct. You can go and check the Amazon fees are correct, right? Do we know where to get those 2 things from, right? Let me know if you don't, right? Let me know if you don't, because that's a thing, right? Now, GP of this product, we're going to be able to work out by taking number 1 and minusing number 2. Okay, so that part there is pretty straightforward. Now we can express that as a value and a percentage. So now we can work out, is this particular product helping or hurting the overall, right? Because if it's higher than your overall P&L, it's helping. If it's lower, then it's hurting, right? Does this make sense, right? I know I've got a super duper lag here today, but just give me a 7 inside the chat box if this makes sense. And you know you can do it, or if you're not typing in 7, let me know what it is that you don't understand or you need assistance with in terms of a question, right? Now, internal expenses, right? Now, what do we mean by internal expenses? Well, we're talking predominantly around Amazon storage, right? Amazon storage and PPC. Okay, Amazon storage and PPC. Now, are we aware of where we can get that information for storage and PPC about a product, right? About a product. Give me a yes or a no inside the chat box, okay? Because those are the two bits of internal expenses. And because we're dealing with a product here, we're not dealing with a business, right? So on a business scale, storage and PPC are going to come out inside your disbursement level report, right? But do you know where to get them for storage and PPC from a product level perspective? Yes or no, right? I will just wait because there's a little bit of a lag here. And do say no if you don't know. Right? Cool. Denise says no. Everybody else is thinking. Everybody else is thinking time here. Right? Okay. So I'm going to assume that there's a number of no's out there. Mike says PPC yes, but storage no. In Amazon business reports, yeah, but I'm not going to direct you to there because I'm going to give you right. So this here is my homework. All right. This is my homework. I'm going to direct you to this. All right. Now, I'm going to produce something for you. And Denise says she's only quicker because I'm asking the questions yesterday. That is very true. That's very true. Denise should be well ahead of us because she's already seen this stream. Right? She should be actually answering the questions before I'm asking them. Right? That's for true. Now, external expenses. Right? External expenses. Give me inside the chat box, guys, what you think an external expense is. Right? Just shout out one or two inside the chat box about what external expenses are, right? Just give me some examples of what you feel external expenses are. Right? Let me know. And I'll have a little bit of hydration while I go on here. So Denise says internet. Gatry says subscriptions. Mike says external storage. Right, so if you were storing them in a lockup or a shed, Gatry says zero, so like software things, right? Lucia says subscriptions. Yes, you guys have got it, right? You guys have got it. Now, here's the big question. How can we relate expenses to a product, right? Now, you can argue that your external storage could be related to a product, right? But how would you relate your internet cost, right? You pay your supplier. My supplier is British Telecom, right? How would I relate that to a product, right? And Noel's got a very interesting one there, which is any hardware. Right, boom. Denise actually is operating in the future here. She knows I was going to ask that. She's probably heard my answer, and that's why she's given us the total expense or the total expenses divided by the number of products. Right, gold star for Denise. Right, gold star for Denise. Right, total divided by number. Right? Now, That is the first and simplest way that I want you to do it, okay? Because that is going to show you one of many things. But it's really going to show you that whenever you have a one-product business or a low number of products in the business, the expenses are going to look very high related to that product, right? They're going to have to do a lot of work. But every single time you add another product in, it's going to go down, right? It's going to go down for every other product, right? Let's say, for example, right, you have got one product in the business, right? And it does $2,000 a month, right? That's going to be good, right? You're going to like that. The COGS on this, if I could move this here, sorry, the menu came up there on me. So the COGS are going to be 1,400, okay? GP, right, is going to be 600. The expenses could be 600. Net profit, 0. Now, you're going to think this isn't working. You're going to think this product makes no money. Do you hear what I've been saying? Right? This isn't working. This product doesn't make any money. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. This business just doesn't have enough products. Right? Because then what you're trying to do is you're trying to push this to 4,000. Right? We're trying to push the revenue to 4,000 to then give us COGS of 2,800, to then give us GP of 1,200. The expenses stay at 600, and then the net profit becomes 600. Right? But now we are in a push scenario of here. I'm not selling enough. I'm not selling enough. This product doesn't sell enough units. Right? Do we see where these questions come from? I certainly do, but they're the wrong questions. Right? Now, Mike does bring up a good point. Mike says the overthinking was, or he's overthinking, I think he says, and it was unfair for a low-cost product. Yes and no, right? Yes and no. We get to that and we start talking inside here. We start talking about a weight, all right? Or a weighted formula, all right? So is it fairer, guys, inside the chat box, that your best-selling product pays a little bit more of the internet than the new product that you just brought into stock yesterday, right? Is it fair that your pre-existing product that you've been selling for 5 years, it sells well, it's your best-selling item, is it fair that it pays a little bit more of a percentage towards the internet? Yes or no, right? Yes or no. Of course, the answer is yes, right? But I don't want you going there right now, right? I don't want you going there right now because it's more complex, and I'm simplifying this for you, right? I'm simplifying this. So, is this starting to like drop a light bulb, right? Because then what we can do is we can work out our net profit, okay? Now, your homework, right? Now, if you haven't done your previous homework, then you've got more homework to do, all right? We've got more homework to do. So your homework is to, at the very least, take a product and work out its P&L for the month of June. Okay? Now, the reason I say June is because some people have got to do some homework from the previous. I have got to get you these two reports as to where you're getting your storage and your PPC. You'll probably want to review today's call, right? And that will give you time. June will then end, and you'll be able to do a product. I'd prefer it if you did them all, right? If you want gold stars, do them all, right? This is good, busy work. Messing around and different things will be bad, busy work. This is good, busy work, right? Gatry is telling me to save my work. Gatry, you are a star. I will do that right now. Save. I'll save it as, actually. I will save it as. Right? And there we go. Put a name in there. This is P&L Part 2 whiteboard. It won't let me write to that. Why not? Why won't you? There we go. Save. Aha. Right. So if we added our homework to the doc file, is that the correct place to share? What we'll do is we will create a template for you that can go along with this training so that you can grab all the different bits of the product and put the different bits of information in, right? And it will get you more and more connected with your business, right? These are really, really good tasks, right? Because what is it that we are going to see here, right? What is it that we've kind of looked at and we've said that we want to see? Well, there's a couple of big things, right? We're going to be looking at our P&L, and we're going to be looking to see what is striking us as being incorrect, okay? Are my COGS too high? Are my COGS too low? If they are, we now have action, right? What should I be expecting from a gross profit, right? Somewhere between 20 to 35%, right? 20% is not bad and 35% is not good, right? It depends. It all depends, okay? Expenses, right? What am I looking to see inside expenses? Have I looked at my expenses and can I make savings on my expenses, right? Are there things that I can do here? We're going to start to identify areas inside the business for you to work on alongside us, okay? Alongside ourselves. Now, the last thing I want to do, guys, is just put up the share link for everybody for the whiteboard of today. And so let me see, make sure I go in here. Is that what I do? There we go. Right. I'll copy that link and I will put it inside the chat box. And hopefully today, because I have saved it, you should be able to come back down. So I'll leave that up and not go full screen with myself. I'll just leave that up for ourselves as of right now. And all that's left for me to do today, guys, is thank you very much for your attendance. Right. Number 2, thank you so much for being engaged today in the chat box. Number 3, thank you for being honest about your business and different things, right? Whenever I asked you early days today about did you do your homework, you answered honestly, right? I didn't like the answer because you're a private label person, right? Private label people do their homework, but private label people always get a second chance, right? They don't get 5 chances or 10 chances, but they definitely get an extra chance, right? And you then started engaging with the questions. You answered it the way you thought it was. You then learned a little bit. We got a lot of action to be able to take on to the next stage. You learned a lot. And whenever we're as engaging as that, we're going to learn more, right? So you engaging with me is always going to add into a better stream, and we take this on forward. Now, whenever I was talking about doing P&L and profit and loss reports, I thought it was going to be one session, which was a session 2 weeks ago. I then quickly realized that there was definitely a second session. I feel now, guys, that there's probably a third session, right? So 2 weeks from now, there's a reason why that homework is perfectly placed, right? Because I think it's the 4th of July is a Thursday, right? So that can be our next one. That's going to be a deadline for homework. I know there might be a certain thing happening on the 4th of July, but I'll be here, right? I'll be here. I will do our third session on P&L. So, guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you so much for engaging. I'll see you all soon.